Greetings and salutations, guys. Eric here with my review of The Fall Guy. Thanks for checking out this video, and if you could please like and subscribe, I'd be very grateful. And I just know you guys are great people that will do that, so thank you very much. Let's dig into The Fall Guy, which is an adaptation of a 1980s TV series that I am guessing you have not seen. I mean, some of you might have seen, but a lot of you won't, because it's not just that it's a show from the 80s. It hasn't had a big afterlife. It's never had a streaming resurgence. It just hasn't stuck around that much. I remember seeing the show when I was a little kid, but that's about it. And even refreshing my memory of what the show was, I was like, this movie doesn't feel like the show. It is not. It is about a stuntman named Cole Seavers, and I guess that's the one direct connection. But what actually happens plot-wise is very different from The Fall Guy. But that's how it goes sometimes. They use the name and go off and do their own thing with it. That's the case here. Ryan Gosling plays Cole Seavers 2024 edition, who has been a working stuntman for a long time, but he's been on the shelf for about a year and a half. He had a bad injury, and it sort of sent him spiraling. It led to him ruining a relationship he had with Jodie, played by Emily Blunt, but he's called back into action. He's called back to work on a new movie with the movie star, played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, that he used to double, and goes to work in Australia on this movie, but then he's told by the producer of the film that actually the movie star has gone missing, and what they really want him to do is to go help find this movie star before the studio finds out and the movie is shut down. So he's kind of given this very big important side mission. If that sounds like a strange kind of credibility pushing premise, it is, but that's okay. I mean, the movie is definitely working at a bigger than life level. So you kind of go with the flow on with this, and tonally from the get-go you understand that this is very comedic, very lighthearted, and sort of overtly silly film. And so I think if you can kind of just roll with those punches, just like Cole Seavers would, you can go with that. I enjoyed this movie, and if there's hesitation there, it's just that it's good, silly fun. Maybe it oversees its welcome. I do think I think it's 2 hours and 6 minutes. I don't think it should be that long. I think this feels like this should be, if not a tight 90, maybe an hour and 45 minutes. There's a good solid 25 minutes extra. It doesn't need to be here. Could have been condensed down. But what you do get is certainly enjoyable. First of all, you've got Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt, who are two great actors who have so much chemistry. And guess what? They have chemistry together. They're, a likable duo here. They're, it's obviously doing the will they or won't they thing because they have a history, but it ended so badly. And now she is, calling him out in front of everyone on the set. She's the director on this film, and that she is very open about hashing out their issues in front of the crew in some funny ways. The two of them work really well together. And there's a portion of the movie that she's not as directly involved in. It's a little hard because she is a movie director to have her running around Australia helping him investigate this crime. But the movie is better when it's the two of them as a duo because they do bounce off each other so well. And in the midst of this, I think you have a very, solid supporting cast. I mean, look, Hannah Waddingham, who is so great on Ted Lasso, playing the Uber producer here, is really fun. And Taylor Johnson, who I think in Bullet Train, we'll get to that movie again in a second, really got to show a goofy, silly side that he rarely has ever shown before that. Gets to do that again here. I don't think quite as successfully, but I still think that he is certainly having fun sending up a egotistical Hollywood actor. This movie is immersed in sort of Hollywood studio behind the scenes, and maybe for better or for worse. I mean, I was laughing at a lot of the jokes and the references, and I love the opening credits, for instance, which look like a script with the names of the cast and crew kind of lifting off the script. I think, there is a lot of in-jokes, meta-jokes. Maybe it goes to that well a little too much. I always wonder how much stuff like this will play to people who aren't immersed in all of that and don't follow all the minutia. They just want to see a fun movie and maybe not, get a lot of behind the scenes of it all. But I think for the most part, I think it'll work because it is sort of just operating at that aren't Hollywood stars silly, aren't these big egos silly, and I think having fun with that. And some of it is very on the nose, but I think in a pretty good way. It's funny because this movie was produced by 87 North, which are the production company that make very stunt-oriented films. And have their own stunt training facility, which I got to visit once, which was awesome. Their actual company is in this movie. 87 North are the stunt team inside the reality of the Fall Guy. So it's kind of funny because it's almost like an advertisement for themselves within it. But at the same time, you kind of know it's done with a lot of love. I mean, David Leitch, who directed this movie, also co-founded 87 North. He was a stuntman for many years. He walks the walk, you know, he knows this world, and he has talked often about how this is sort of a love letter to the stunt community, and you do feel that. You know, this is a movie about celebrating them, about putting them front and center, having a main character who is the stuntman, showing that process, talking openly about how we're going to digitally replace the stuntman's face with the actor's face and things that happen these days that used to not happen in the past. So I actually did like that we got to see that aspect here. You know, I think comedy-wise, the movie is hit or miss. That there are some jokes that really hit home and are really funny, and I laughed very loudly at. There's some that are a little forced, don't really hit their mark, but that's okay. I think, honestly, my biggest complaint is it going on too long. That, you know, pacing wise, this movie would have been improved if it were tighter, if it were more condensed. David Leitch has directed a lot of action movies in the past few years since he sort of made his debut co-directing the original John Wick. And since then, he's done stuff like Deadpool 2, Hobbs and Shaw, Bullet Train, all movies that I enjoy. They're all, you know, kind of a little bit disposable, maybe a little, the term popcorn movie comes up, but not in a bad way. I really do enjoy all those movies, and I think they are easy to sort of sit back, relax, and have a good time with. Maybe they're not the best action movies ever, but, you know, he certainly knows how to film action, how to deliver some really exciting moments and beats. And I think that's what he does here. If you liked Bullet Train, especially, because I think tonally this is the movie that the most similar to big stars and fast moving, again, even though it goes on too long, and that same sort of pace and tone and sense of humor is, I think, similar to Bullet Train. I think you'll enjoy this as well. It's really in the sort of same arena. And Hobbs and Shaw, which I guess is a divisive movie amongst the Fast and Furious fan base, but a movie I thought was a pretty good time. Drew Pearce, who wrote that movie or co-wrote it, also wrote this one, and I think you kind of feel that same vibe going on. The closing credits of this film are a montage of behind the scenes, a la sort of a Jackie Chan movie, but instead of being focused on Jackie Chan, it's focused on the entire stunt group that worked on this movie and showing you the behind the scenes of how these big action set pieces happen, both the guys doing it, but also the vehicles involved and how it all, you know, came together. I really like that because it really kind of felt, you know, that this movie is sort of just presenting like the stuntman, the stunt community for the audiences to kind of maybe appreciate and look at from a sort of different perspective than they do. I mean, I think everyone knows what a stuntman is, but this gets a little more into the sort of nitty gritty of all of that. There's some strange things here and there, like Stephanie Sue, Oscar nominee, pops up in this movie. And I say pops up because she has a role that seems like it might be important, but it's so condensed. It's in this one little portion of the movie. She gets to have a little couple fun beats, and then she's gone. And I thought, was this like a rewrite thing? This feels like this character once probably had more to do. I feel like Stephanie Sue was flown to Australia probably expected to do more than she does in this movie. So there's things like that along the way, because I did read about some of the rewrites on this movie and changes made even to the Emily Blunt, character and what her role was on the film that changed in the process of developing it. So there's things like that, hiccups like that. But I had a smile on my face through a lot of this movie. It's easygoing time, easygoing good time, and not the best action movie I've seen recently, but still a really solid one, an enjoyable one. So that's my a lighthearted recommendation for a lighthearted movie, I guess, with The Fall Guy. Don't know why it had to be The Fall Guy again. Kind of strange to use that IP. I know that they like name recognition, right? In Hollywood, they think even if someday you just heard in passing that there was once a show called The Fall Guy, maybe it'll sell another ticket. I don't know if that's true or not, but that seems to be their philosophy. So those are my thoughts on The Fall Guy 2024 edition. Gosling and Blunt, they're a good pairing. I wouldn't mind seeing them in another movie together. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye.